What is going on, Illumineers, and welcome back to the Madhouse. And we have another video where we are just celebrating winners. We're celebrating people that had a good time at Set Champs. They won first, second, third, fourth. I don't care if you did better than you've ever done before and still didn't make top 8, just that you're happy with how you did. Maybe you won your first Set Champ promo. Maybe you just took a super spicy list and enjoyed it. I want to help celebrate that for you, all right? Because you deserve it. That's what these videos are all about. Trying to get your name out there, trying to help you brag, and that's what we're trying to do. So speaking of bragging, though, before we get to the list, I've got to brag about my local crew at Safari Zone Collectibles. I'm blessed. I really am. One of our buddies, Jason, down here, he worked with Laura Pixie's Tiny Things out of, I believe, Baltimore to just get these shirts built. And you can see the back of them with our names, and in the front of them it says Mad Hatters, and it's just wild to me. He just kind of did it, and then everybody in our Facebook group kind of worked together to build an idea of what they wanted the shirt to be like, and this is what it came out, and they're stunning, and they're beautiful, and they're amazing, and just like the people that are wearing them. We've got Jason, Paul, Kyle, we've got Rick and his two boys, complete beasts. We've talked about them on the channel before. You guys have even heard their voices. It's just awesome. I love my crew. I think they're amazing human beings. And so I wanted to brag about them because they deserve it. So with that, though, let's get on with the list. Let's start bragging about some people from around everywhere. And first up, we've got some red purple. We've got Fiend taking first place with his kind of toolbox red purple list. Looking at it, this was a typo right here. I'm just going to say right off the bat, before anyone freaks out, this top 4 Amber Steel aggro, it was 2-1 on the draw. It was not 1-2, okay? He wouldn't have made it to top 2 to win first. But with that, I'm digging the list. I think I've said it before. I think red purple is in a really good place for Set Champs when you have an idea of what you're going to be up against. If your local meta doesn't have a lot of those top-end control-y decks where it's a lot of blurple, it's a lot of red blue, things like that, green Baja Blast, then you have the ability to kind of tech harder into the Amber Steel aggro, or in this case, purple steel tempo, purple steel aggro, steel song. Like, you can tech into these different things because you know what your local meta is. So in this case, you can run some more toolboxy things that are going to help against your local meta, especially if you know what the majority of people are playing. Then you can kind of alter to get those tech cards that you're really going to want. And so I think red purple is just in a good place for Set Champs because you can tech things into what might be a really heavy aggro meta. You have things like Ursula, which is really, really good, and then you pop it with Lumiere to make Ursula even bigger. That Challenger, essentially Challenger 3 now, which is really good. Ursula can then on turn 3 can take out a Daisy, which is phenomenal. Cogsworth being able to come down, do some nasty things with that. Queen of Hearts, good into aggro. The Peter Pan into Iago is phenomenal. At that point, you're just controlling with Elsa into Maui, or Elsa or Maui, or then you got the Maui if they didn't take care of your Peter Pan. Meanwhile, against other things, against maybe some of the slower decks, maybe they don't care about your Ursula questing for once. They let that Ursula live forever. You get a Maui Half Shark down, they can't answer it, so they don't turn sideways. But then you can use the Ursula to shift Ursula, quest for 3 with that Ursula, and then exert one of their characters, take it out with Maui to get an action back. Like, there's a lot of cool synergy. I love it when you're running. Why not run one, especially if you're a big fan of more toolboxy decks? Meanwhile, you have the Finders Keepers, the one of Dragonfire, the Pirate's Life plus Shark combo, B-Prep, only 2 of. Huge fan of that. Don't like the card. So I like seeing less. The Imperial Proclamation, another good toolboxy card. And then the 2 libraries. So you have lots of that draw going on. I think it's, well, clearly it did well. In top 2, you got your revenge against Green Purple Discard, going 2-1 for finals to take that match. overall, man, really good showing. And I wanted to start off with this list because I've been talking a lot of hype about red purple since the set started, and I still think red purple is in a good place to do really well at your local set champs. Next up, though, we've got Jordini Dan with what the next slide is what I think might be the coolest playmat I've ever seen. We'll get there. Slow down. But first off, his list. All right, he's running some wheel, some whole new world, no Rhino, no problem, steel song. So some traditional steel song, going back a little bit old school. The only newer cards we have in here is Namari. And when you look at his matches, unfortunately, in his day, we've got losing on the play against Amber Steel aggro twice, but beating it on the draw. So kind of a weird thing there. Normally you would expect that to be turned around, but if you don't see the cards, you don't see the cards. And I think Amber Steel, it high rolls really well. If one common thing is, let's say you play Cindy on turn 1 or you play Robin Hood on turn 1, then if your opponent plays Cindy or Rhino on turn 1, there's a good chance you're going to lose your shift target. There's a good chance you're going to lose that Cinderella, and then you've lost all of that ability, right? You've lost all of that go. So let's say worst case scenario, if it's not the ball's on your court, let's say you're on the play, you play Baby Cinderella on turn 1, not having a song. If your opponent plays the Baby Cinderella or the Baby Rhino, and then it goes back to you and you don't blow it up and you play, for example, a Robin Hood, your opponent now knows you don't have a song in your hand because you would have blown up their Baby Cindy or their Baby Rhino. So now they don't even have to care about your Baby Cindy. They can just blow up your shift target, because if I was the aggro player, I would much rather deal with your Baby Cindy possibly top decking a song or Ariel finding her a song on turn 3 than dealing with a 3/6 Robin Hood. That's a good way to lose the game as an Amber Steel player. So it's just rough if you don't get that great start, and they do. It's really hard for you to be able to come back, and I'd imagine that's kind of what happened. And even if it didn't, if you're an aggro player and you just go Daisy into Smee into Lady plus Smee or Lady plus Doc, like, it's hard for you to come back at that point. So really good showing, though. It just goes to show sometimes aggro, when it has it, it just has it. Even if you are the counter deck, and traditional steel song, Amber Steel is the counter deck for Amber Steel aggro. So really good job. But let's look at that list, or that mat. All right, this is what might be the coolest mat I've ever seen. And sure, I'm pretty biased. I do love me some Steel Song, but this is just amazing. I love this list. I love the Cinderella Stout-Hearted in the back. I love the Ariel. I think this is an Ariel Sonic Warrior. Looks like an Ariel Sonic Warrior. So with the Zeus Thunderbolt, you've got Robin Hood over here riding the magic carpet. You've got maybe that's the Queen's Castle in the back. I mean, I just think it's amazing, and I have to know where you've got it. You're in the Discord, so I'm gonna have to ask you where you got it. Did you make it yourself? Did you pay someone to make it? Did you win it? I have to know. This mat is stunning, much like that Jafar that you won. But next up on our list, we've got Illuminteer's Ohana going in, and he took 2 different lists. So he took into 2 different lists for top 4 that he got on both of them. He did the set champs in Hawaii. The first one was last weekend, and then this weekend he took a red purple list. So looking at the first weekend of the set champs, he took this red blue that is a pretty spicy red blue. One thing I do note right off the bat, though, no, I guess not a lot. We've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So only 10 items. So definitely not quite enough to make, Lucky Dime, Tamatoa stuff want to go off. But more items than you normally see in the kind of red blue burn list with the McDuck Manors and the Mauis and the Pirate's Life. But one thing he did say is that these items that he added in and your heads held high were just MVP cards. He said Poison Apple, being able to use Poison Apple to turn cards sideways or banish princesses, but to banish princesses and stuff, really powerful. Poison Apple, I remember my buddy Vince in a set champs that he won with red blue, that was his tech card of choice and he really loved it. The sword coming in here to make your opponent lose a lore, really powerful as well. And then heads held high to give your opponent minus attack. So that could come in clutch when maybe your opponent maybe they have an Ana down, right? You're playing against Blurple, they have an Ana down, so you know that next turn they're going to play an Elsa to take out your Maui Half Shark. But if you play heads held high, they can't do that anymore. They're not going to have the lore or the attack to be able to do it. So a list with some spice, and I really respect it. Unfortunately, losing its items, which items a very tough matchup for this kind of burn deck. You kind of have to get those McDuck manners down and then hope that they don't have their own ways of answering those McDuck manners. Meanwhile, they're starting to build cards that you just can't really deal with. You have your one hideaway and not a lot of characters to really enable that Maui Half Shark. Meanwhile, looking at the rest of the list, we got location variant, normal variant of Blurple, location variant Purple Steel, 90 cards. I didn't even notice this. Was he running a 90 card red purple list? That is wild. But overall, a really good showing, man. I think that's awesome, and I'm glad the first set champs went well for you. Could have gone better, but went well overall. And then next up, we've got a red purple where you opted to go you really included those kind of aggro-esque cards. You have the Ursula, the Queen of Hearts, the Madame Medusa, Crab, Peter Pan, all cards super strong into Amber Steel aggro. So meanwhile, we have the Hypnotic Strength, really good into those Iago wars, but also helping to take out rhinos with Ursula is really good as well. So Madame Mim, Elephant, being another good card against those Amber Steel decks. So definitely teched hard, and I'd imagine that you just expected to see a lot of Amber Steel throughout the day. And when we look at your matches, rounds 1 through 4, unfortunately, this is kind of what I talked about earlier. If you tech really hard for those Amber Steel matches, red purple it kind of gets really hurt against those top end matches because it doesn't have a lot of the stuff it still has the stuff you need, like the Pirate's Life and the Maui Half Sharks, the Hades. Those are all even the Whale Monstro, really good against Red Blue Burn. But when you're top decking cards like Queen of Hearts, Ursula, Madame Medusa, Crab, those aren't cards you really want to see into Red Blue. You want to see those other cards like Dragonfire, more locations maybe, Lady Tremaine, things like that. Finders Keepers, really good, so you can get that draw going, so you can consistently have cards against their onslaught of things they're going to be doing. So you see the loss coming there, 0-2, and then finally in Top Cut, losing to traditional Steel Song, which again, no matter how you tech as red purple, that's just not a great matchup for red purple. Traditional Steel Song, not in my opinion, as a Steel Song player, I have always felt extremely comfortable into any version of red purple, and I maybe it's because I've played so many of the matches, but looking at the other stuff, aggro 2-1, songs you beat 2-0 there, so it did work out really well for you. So I'd be interested, how many more set champs do you have? What list do you think you'll run with now that you've played 2 different ones? But really good job, man. I hope Hawaii is treating you well. Next up, we've got this one I'm super excited about. So if you all remember from last week, this was flip-flopped, all right, because we had Sarah taking first place and Madison taking second place. They met in finals, and Sarah beat Madison in finals, but this time Madison got her very first ever first place. She got this beautiful Jafar playmat, and what I love about it is she's running a deck that she enjoys, and then she threw in her favorite character, Stitch. And her dad, when he messaged me, said that Stitch was actually pretty relevant. It's not easy to get rid of, being a 3/4 and then gaining that one lore, drawing a card. It's really annoying. So it it just makes me happy, right? This is things like this is why I do these videos, because it's just really cool. Madison is 8 years old, right? And 8 years old, going in, dominating, taking first place at a set champs is just magnificent. And then of course her sister, a young lady as well, going in, getting top 4, getting first place last week. Just amazing. It really is. It's really, really neat to see, and I'm extremely happy for you, Madison. I love that you included your Stitch, your favorite card still. Like, there's no argument that we've seen people running other lists that have done really well, and she could have just not ran her own card. She could have just copy pasted another list that has been winning, but she said, no, I'm running my boy Blue. All right. And it just makes it I would think it makes it even more special to be able to go and get first place while you run your favorite character. Like, I think that's awesome. And for the record, Madison, Stitch is also my favorite character. I am so excited. Spoiler for anyone that hasn't been paying attention to reprints. I'm so excited that Stitch is getting a reprint. The shift Stitch that makes things cost, or you can play ones exerted to draw a card, right? So yeah, I'm really happy for you. I'm really happy for both of you, Madison and Sarah. Really good job. Next up, we've got Yesterday's Tomorrow running Go-Go Grapes, taking first place with his version of Green Purple and Green Purple Tempo. One thing is I've shown more Green Purple Tempo this set than I have Green Purple Discard, and I think I think Green Purple Tempo is another good deck. It does really well into Amber Steel aggro, and so if it's popular in your local meta, I think you might want to give it a try. There's just a lot of different things you can do with it. Green Purple Tempo has always been kind of a toolboxy deck in terms of things that you're able to do, and a lot of that, the things you're able to do, is things that I think new people to Green Purple forget. For example, you don't have to just bounce Goat. You don't have to just bounce your opponent's character. Sorry, you do have to bounce opposing character, but you don't have to just bounce Goat with Snake and Madam and Fox. You can use Fox and Snake to bounce Go-Go, to bounce Ursula, to bounce Cricky, like Elsa. Like, there's so many options. You can, there's just so much you can do. And then when you have wrong lever, you have even more options you're able to do. Like, there's just a lot of lines that you can do with this deck that make it so powerful. The going turn 1 Cursed Merfolk, questing, bouncing with Snake. Turn 2 you play turn 3 you play Cursed Merfolk again plus Ursula. There's just options, and you have to be willing to, with Green Purple, go into every match knowing that no match is going to be played exactly the same, because when you run a deck that has so many lines like Green Purple, every game will be different, because depending on what cards you're going to bounce, depending on how you play your levers, it's the abilities, you get the idea. The deck has a lot of lines. Is it a difficult deck to pilot? Yes, I do think it's a difficult deck to pilot. But it has reach with things like Goat. It has ways to not clear the board, but remove characters with the lever. You have to draw package with friends, library, pull the lever, Genie replacing himself, Cricky being able to just do amazing trades. So if you get that library down, then you move some things into library, and then you play Cricky, you're going to reduce some phenomenal trades, and you're going to get to quest, which is really, really strong as well. So really good job showing the power of Green Purple Tempo. We're actually going to look at another Green Purple Tempo list at the end of the video. Next up, we've got, of course, I didn't include his name because I am an awful human being, but I believe this was Jackson. I am 99% sure this was Jackson, and this one is really neat because Jackson I showcased one of his lists in the previous video where he took second place, and he was running a little bit more of a spicy list where he wasn't running McDuck Manners, and he was running something else. But in this list, he decided to throw in the McDuck Manners, but also still keeping it a little different, quite a bit different than what we see a lot of these red blue burn decks do. Now, one thing he did say is McDuck Manor just an MVP of a card. And it truly is. McDuck Manor, like, a lot of people really worry about Shark and Pirate's Life, and that is a phenomenal combo. Like, that I think, like, what it can do, all that ability to gain lore, getting a Maui half shark down, going into a develop, into a visions, into a develop, like, it's crazy the amount of lore you can get. But McDuck Manor, just getting that down, having that ability to do it, and then protect your board. And when you look at the list that Jackson was running, you can throw down a McDuck Manor, and then you don't only have B Prep to control their board. You have B Prep, Sizu, Hades, and Maleficent, and the Mauis. So your McDuck Manors are going to be really safe. Meanwhile, you have abilities to fight into opponents' McDuck Manors. You have Kita, which, again, really good against discard. Didn't face any throughout the day, but a great card against discard. One thing I'd wonder is when you see 2 Steel Songs, I believe were both traditional. Does Kita... Kita is that ability to get awarded character down that then you can use to sing How Far I'll Go, and they can't get rid of that singer. So you have that ability that goes on. And then meanwhile, also being able to dig through your deck a little bit more to find the things that you really need. Running 2 Merlin's Carpet Bag, we've talked about that a lot. The ability to just draw so many cards with this 1 5-cost uninkable item. I think I like this list. I think it's fun. I like that you fine-tuned it to your play style and you were able to take it. You did something last weekend or 2 weekends ago. You tried something. It didn't quite work out. You realized what you missed. You fine-tuned your deck, took first place. I think it's awesome and really good. Congratulations. Your tech, spot on, man. Spot on. So next up, we've got Joel plays Lorcana, a nice gentleman from the Flower Farm, as well as part of the Mad Hatters Discord. And this fine gentleman is a stellar individual. They were at finals. He was going in finals. He's playing traditional Steel Songs. So let's be honest, he was probably going to win because traditional is just phenomenal. But his opponent had never won a map before. So Joel decided to split with him. He took the booster box reward and he split with him so his opponent could have his first ever first place champion Matt. And kudos to you. I think that's phenomenal. I think it's awesome. I think it's everything that I love about Lorcana, and it's just cool. So good job, man. Looking at the list, though, I think it's great. I really do. I love the 5 Singer 4s. I think 5 or 6 is a great number. I really think that that's a phenomenal number to have for Singer 4s when you're running 4 Zeus, when you're seeing so much aggro. We're still running the Smee Lawrence package, which if you're expecting red-blue, I think is a really good idea. Lawrence still just phenomenal card. I say it every set. We always... Steel Song, since I started, since set 4, has had this issue where people love to cut Lawrence, and then by the end of the set, they're always adding him back in. The card is just phenomenal. It is a great card. He does so many different things, and he's annoying for your opponent to deal with as well. Meanwhile, we've got the 3 Naveen, so going hard that direction. The 2 Namaris helping McDuck Manors, trades into everything, quests for 2, digs for cards that you might want, also can get rid of cards you don't want. So just a really strong list. I like the list a lot. I think it's good, and the proof is in the pudding. Went to finals, did really well. Got to do a super nice thing that probably felt really good. So good job, man. I love to see it, and congratulations. Next up, we've got Dot Fu Chernobog's Crushers Gamer Geeks. The Chernobog Crushers Blurple Special. So I sometimes I read these and I get through them and I always have questions. I like to save my questions for the videos. And is there just a lot of Chernobogs in your local area? Is that a team name? Is it just your opponents? Like everybody's on purple? Is it like I don't know. I have questions. What's with the name? All right, what's with the name? But when we look at the list, I think the list is just it's cool. There's a lot of things that you don't see in Blurple. I mean, you don't see Scrooge McDuck anymore. That 5/5 questing for 2 trades into Rhino really well, trades into a lot of things will trade into it, or you just keep questing for 2. Feels pretty good. You have the Magicka Dispel, which I don't know the last time I saw this in a list or if I ever have. But again, if you're expecting a lot of discard in your local meta, maybe it's not a bad idea to just throw one in so they can't discard your hand. When you're playing a lot, when there's a lot of green blue running around with Bend to My Will, the discard, the Whole New Worlds with Amber Steel, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. The Hypnotic Strength, fighting the Yago Wars, helping you trade into Rhinos, the Ana, that no shift target for the Ana, but questing for 2, when you play this character, exert all opposing characters. So getting some good trades out of that, which is really nice. I know we've always talked about Ana and the flower. Dot Few is not a part of the flower farm, I don't believe, but we talked about Ana a lot, and one of the issues we never ran it is that there was no shift target. So we already had to have a board, so I'm curious, how well Ana did for you throughout the day. If you have the board, Ana is going to be a force to be reckoned with. That ability to exert everything, and then your opponent feels really safe, and then you're just like, nope, not today, all right? So Blurple just doing Blurple things. There's a lot of Blurple lists in this video, and it's just good. It's not awful into anything really except for green yellow discard, and it has the ability to kind of play into everything, and it feels good playing the deck as well. We've got the 2 Croquet Mallets as well to give your character rush, which can surprise your opponent. So it's just a good list, and I'm really glad it worked well for you. I hope I'm gonna have to ask what's with the name overall, but really good showing, man. Good job. I love the tech. I think the tech is awesome, and it worked for you getting first place. Next up, we've got Space Ranger. This is Space Ranger Co., one of the most awesome people. He's been a part of my Discord for a really long time out over there in Cali. He's done a few set champs, managed to get top 4 this time, and I gotta give him credit where credit is due. I think every set champs he's been to so far, he's had, like, Ed has been there as well. So there's always that feeling knowing, like, well, crap, guys, Ed showed up today. Like, I mean, that man could run with puppies and still beat most of us. So it's awesome. He's got a competitive area to play in, and then he's just an amazing human being. He really is. I love the guy to death. But looking at his list, traditional steel song, one thing to note is this is probably one of the first times I've ever seen him run a list that is not running Prince Naveen. All right. He loves that uninkable. He loves running the one uninkable Prince Naveen, and opted to just cut it in this one. I'd wager a lot of it has to do with uninkable counts. When you look at 4 Daisy, 4 Zeus, 4 the Storm Rage on, so we're at 12. Only 16, so that's not super high for what we've been used to, but also, where do you make cuts, right? So maybe opting to just cut that Naveen, not feeling it, and still running a great list, opting to run, the 2 shift packages, and I do kind of like the 2 shift packages. I've played quite a bit of it, and I missed my Robin Hood shift, and I was happy to add him back in, but then I missed kind of some of the ability that Rhino Shift gave you, so I added some of him back in, but I believe I'm on 3 and 4 in my list now. So overall, though, it's awesome. I love it, and I hope that the rest of your set champs go really well, man. I have no doubt that we'll see you taking that mat as well. Next up, we've got Honey Wizard 101, and this is Paul from one of the pictures in the very beginning, and I did show his list off in a previous video in my meta report last week, and I just wanted to bring it up again because there was a lot of discussion about Amber Steel just being as dominant as it is right now, and I just wanted to say that this is just the top cut for the event that he was in, on the draw against Amber Steel aggro, on the draw against Amber Steel mid-range, and then on the play against Blue Steel, and he was able to beat both of those, aggro and mid-range, with this green-purple list. And then that doesn't even go on to talk about what his Swiss rounds were. There was a metric ton of Amber Steel at this event that he was at, and him, as well as the Blue Steel player, ran through the gauntlet throughout the day and came out on top. So it just goes to show that, like, the stuff is out there to beat Amber Steel and to beat Amber Steel aggro. And when we look at this list, there's a couple differences between this and the tempo list that we looked at earlier. You know, when we look at this one, no library, so we're not running library in this one. We're running 2 Ursulas in this one. So there are definitely differences going on. Off the top of my head, those are the first 2 that I think of, but overall, they're both doing a lot of the same thing. Oh, wait. No, less foxes and 1 less snake in this list. But they're both doing the same thing. They're doing tempo things. They're getting these cards down. They're getting the Diablo down. The Ursula to, take cards away. You set up the Peter Pan to go into Iago. Cricky for great trades. Meanwhile, you have Fox. So very different list, actually, because this list is also not running Goat. I want to go back really quick. Was the first list running? Yeah, it's only 3 Diablos. So very, very different lists, actually, when we look at them. This list, more aggro. This list running the 4 Cursed Merfolks, where this list is not running the Cursed Merfolks. So maybe you could argue that this is, I don't know. So I guess the point is, very different lists that went about into a meta that had a lot of Amber Steel and still doing really well. So again, Green Steel or Green Purple is one of those decks that you have different lines that you can take, different ways that you can accomplish your win. And when you find those and when you're creative with how you're going to accomplish them, good things are going to happen. And they happen for these 2 individuals. It happened for Paul at his event, and it happened for our boy at his event. So overall, really good job, man. Next up, we've got Denell Oendo, probably said that wrong, as I'm sure I always do. So, but I love this guy. He's been on Amber Steel aggro for quite a while. You've seen him in a lot of my videos. In previous metas, he was on Diggy Diggy Hole. So, but this time, opting to not go that route, running a more aggro setup. He's got the Goofies in here, the Rapunzel's Towers, because they're just amazing. And when you look at his matches throughout the day, Green Purple, unfortunate loss against discard, but beats Green Purple Tempo. And then Green Purple Tempo in finals. I typed this wrong because, hang on a second. We've got Swiss, intentional draw for 2, top 8, top 4, lost to Green Purple in the final match, Green Purple aggro. So again, Green Purple showing that they can win games against Amber Steel aggro, because this should say 0-2, I believe. But what's really interesting is Blurple. Blurple can be a tougher matchup for Amber Steel aggro sometimes. Like, on the draw specifically, when Blurple is on the play, they can kind of get things going just enough, right? They set up the genie into the bell and kind of get things going. But here you see that he did 2-1 twice against 2 different Blurple players and on the draw. So, and it just goes to show, sometimes when you just go too fast, they just can't do anything if they don't see the cards, right? If they don't have what they need, then it's just not going to be enough when you can just spam so much lore so early. But I love seeing it, man. I'm sure you're going to get first place before all is said and done. But I love having the opportunity to showcase your list so consistently, because you're an amazing player, and thank you for all the support that you give in the Discord as well. So next up, another huge shout out to a young lady. We've got, I'm assuming her name is Gwyn. I did not get her name from her dad, because I forgot to ask, but I'm assuming her name is Gwyn, and she is the Ice Queen, and she is running some aggro songs, taking first place with her list. And look at that smile. She's pumped. She's excited, and she's just doing aggro things. But what I like about the list is, it has that aerial Zeus, so maybe more of an aggro tempo-esque list. I know with Purple Steel, if I see as Zeus, I call it tempo, so maybe I'll just consider this tempo. But what I like about this is that aerial is inkable. So if you're against something like maybe red blue, where you just need to go fast, you have the opportunity to just ink that aerial. You don't need to play it, right? Because you'd rather do these other things. Meanwhile, you don't need to play Ursula if you don't want to, so you can just ink her as well. But meanwhile, against Amber Steel, like maybe your top 4 match, you have the ability to get that Ursula down, to get that aerial down, and find one of the songs you need. But meanwhile, when you are aggro, when you're running daisies and piglets and ladies and Lawrences, you can go 2-1 on the draw against red blue, and that is what I love to see. So huge shout out to you by beating red blue in finals, and I love to see it. I love to see it. I love to see it, and I'm extremely proud of you and extremely happy for you that that's how you got to be able to end your set champs, is by beating red blue on the draw. So just really good job. I'm glad that the event went so well for you. I love that your shirt matches your shoes and your hat as well, so great color coding there. But really great day for you. I'm really happy for you, so I hope things continue to go well. Next up, we've got my boy Christian. I'm going to call him Christian because he's told me how to pronounce this before, and I just don't remember, and I'm a terrible person. So with that, though, he is a Flower Farm member as well. He is also part of the Mad Hatters Discord, running some Blurple. And, I've got to give him a shout out. He's managed to get top 4 with this list as well, and set champs just hasn't been going exactly his way this set, not being able to crack that first place finish. But one thing that I like is opting to run his own tech, right? Expecting some red blue items, so throwing in the 1 Cusco as an opportunity. Meanwhile, you can bounce that Cusco with something like Madam M Fox, and also running Sardine Can to help against Amber Steel. Unfortunately, more traditional, right? With the ability Sardine Can giving one of your characters ward, unfortunately did not run into Amber Steel all day. So Sardine Can never really getting to shine, but it is inkable, so there is that. And then we also have the Madam Mim here. So the Madam Mim, you exert some ink, and you choose and discard a card, and you gain 1 lore. Great way to just really surprise your opponents. Another great tech against something like Amber Steel. Unfortunately, never seeing any traditional Steel song, so that kind of stinks. But also just a good closer against other decks when you have so much draw, like Finders Keepers and Popsicle replacing itself, maybe trying to dig to find that Finders Keepers or Friends on the Other Side or the Tamatoas. And the deck, again, Blurple just having so many different things that you can do to get to the win. Sometimes it just doesn't go your way, unfortunately. And just keep your head up, man. All right, that's what it's all about. We just keep our head up. Sometimes the cards just don't flip the way that we want them to, and that's unfortunately just the way it goes. But I have faith, man. Maybe for now we just chill and get ready to kick some butt when set 9 comes out, whatever it may be. But I'm really proud of you, man, running some of your own stuff instead of just cookie cutter 60. So keep it up, and I'd build a snowman with you. Next up, though, we've got Jeremy taking 4th place with his version of traditional Steel song, and with it, you'll see the double shift package. All right, again, double shift. It's something that it just has its different merits, right? That ability to just get that Robin Hood down and sing A Whole New World on turn 5 feels really good. If you get that Robin Hood down against Amber Steel aggro, that ability to just gain that 2 passive lore and control their board, that feels really good. There's just a lot of merit to it. I'm not, like I already mentioned it, I'm a fan of the double shift package. I do like it, which is funny because when I first started playing the game, I hated double shift package with Queen and Robin Hood. But with the Rhino and Robin Hood, maybe it's because I know how to alter a little bit better. Whatever it may be, I do enjoy it a little bit more. So really good job, Jeremy. I'm sure another very active person in the Mad Hatters Discord that I truly adore, and I hope that the rest of your set champs go really well. Next up, we've got one of our buddies. I showcased our list very similar to this in the meta report. This is Kyle, and this one is different. This is not the one he got second place with. This is based off of his list that he took second place with, that was running the Little Johns and also Beast, this is how he changed the list up, and this is what he thinks would guarantee that victory, that first place finish. And one thing that I wanted to highlight that I didn't highlight in the previous video is just how many Amber Steel aggro players that he played throughout the day. And the deck just has things that you want to see against Amber Steel aggro. On the play, you have the ability to pop their Singer with the Storm Rage on. Again, this one thing that I didn't mention that honestly I kind of just didn't know is this Aladdin is his second effect. I was kind of focused on his first effect, letting you play a character for free, but also when this character is exerted, your ally characters gain Challenger +1. So this Bagheera is able to challenge into a Rhino, things like that. So Lawrence able to challenge into a Rhino. Smeeze, Bells, this Jasmine able to challenge into Daisy Ducks. Calhoun also able to challenge into Daisy Ducks. Meanwhile, some of the changes that he's made is we've got these Jasmines, which I believe was one of the changes, and then the Tamatoa. Tamatoa just being a 4/5 quest for 2, and then getting to cycle Popsicles is pretty darn good as well. And so the deck, lots of questing for 2 going on here, lots of ability for draw with Jasmine, playing cards with Aladdin. You have at least recycle with the Popsicle, Tamatoa. So again, and then Docs as well. So the list is good. Kyle says that this list, if you want to beat Amber Steel, is a great direction to go, and I believe him. I think the list has a lot of merit into a lot of different decks. So really good job, Kyle. Again, you deserved a second video in my opinion. All right, we got a little post-production. I needed to redo this part because I missed what Link's shirt said. But real quick, just huge shout out to Link taking 3 first place finishes with his version of Amber Steel traditional Steel song and the Meyer song. Huge shout out. I appreciate that. But this shirt, before we talk about the list, if you can't see it because you're watching on your phone, I love it when my wife lets me play Lorcana. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Man, but when we look at the list overall, the list is just doing what Amber Steel traditional Steel song is trying to do right now, and that's control the board. And when we look at it, we're running the 6 Singer 4s that I'm just really obsessed with right now. I have been for quite some time now because I think it's just such a strong number. I think 5 or 6 is the way to go, but I definitely lean towards 6, especially when you don't think there's going to be any red-blue. And maybe Link knew that going into this set champs. Meanwhile, we're running the 2 Naveen's. It's kind of a requirement. If you're not running that shift 5, whether it's the Queen, whether it's the Queen or the Bianca on turn 4, or even the Robin Hood, you have to run something that can reliably sing you a whole new world. Beast isn't super reliable because your opponent's going to take him out real quick. A lot of people, they see Beast, it's an instant removal. Aerial, it gets removed too easily by Brawl. Meanwhile, also if you're on the draw, it gets removed really easily by Blurple, right? So it's just Prince Naveen just kind of fills that void. Meanwhile, the 3 Bare Necessities not going to be super effective against Blurple because they're going to kind of get rid of those things, but it still can be. They have that Finders Keepers, they have the Popsicles, they have the Friends on the other side, so there are targets for it. Or it can just be Ink against Blurple, but again, really good against Red Purple. When you're running 4 Pete's and 3 Bare Necessities, you can pretty safely sing a whole new world to refill your hand, knowing that you're going to see one of these 7 cards, especially if you get to a second one. At that point, if you get to a second one, you've kind of eliminated them being able to use Be Prepared. So, and then Beast just being able to draw. And if you know you're not going to be against a lot of Steel, you know Beast is going to be a dump truck, right? Like Beast is going to draw you a lot of cards. It's going to be a target. It's going to require a Hades every turn. And I don't know, the more I get Hades, like the more my opponent plays cards against me that put ink into my inkwell, I'm just kind of happy. Like, sure, it sucks to lose Beast, but at the same time, I love free ink. Like, I thoroughly enjoy free ink from my opponents. So overall, the list just doing really well. Link just dominating the local meta with it, taking 3 first place finishes to get another champ mat. So really good job. I don't know if you have another one, but if you do, I'm sure it's going to go phenomenal. Next up, we've got a really good friend of mine. He plays at Born to Game. Who he kind of plays all over, but I first met him, and Vince is actually an individual that taught me how to play Lorcana, but this is Vince over at Born to Game. He judges the events for Safari Zone Collectibles as well. Really knowledgeable player, and he's the one that made the colorful graph for my meta report videos. So amazing human being. When I saw this green Christmas tree list, I had a feeling that I would see him start going that direction as well. It really fits the playstyle that he really enjoys, and he took it and did really well and won first place. So I'm really happy for him. Really interesting day as well. Not something you'd ever expect to see at a set champs because, well, yeah, I mean, Baja into Hyper Aggro Yellow Blue, into DKP Burn, into a Flinger Dinger deck, into DKP Burn. So just not what you expect. You don't, I mean, it's a big variety, and I think most people, when they go to a set champs, they expect to see they expect to see Amber Steel, and then not seeing any of it. Okay, so really good game. Really happy for him that it went well. He loves to get one champion mat per set, puts it on his wall in a frame, and then after that, he just plays anything. He builds a new deck for each set champs that he goes to, and just goes to hang out with his friends. And he drives up to New Jersey and just all over with his buddies. And I have a huge respect for that. He gets his mat and then just chills out and plays Lorcana for the people, and I think it's great, and I respect that. I respect people that win multiple mats, but I also I respect people who decide to not go that route. And the list, though, talking about the list, just I've said it before last week in the meta report that I think that this is a really strong list. The discard package is phenomenal. Undermine is an extremely strong card, giving characters +2 and they discard is phenomenal. You have great control, Dragonfire, Pirate's Life, Be Prepared, Bruno, and Bruno feeding your Prince John, draw package, and then of course you have Cricky to be able to trade into things. The list, again, I mentioned it last video. I think the Christmas tree, this Emerald Ruby list can be extremely powerful, and I think Undermine was a big piece of making it as powerful as it can be. Chip also helping that ability to get a character that can trade reasonably well while also feeding your Prince John draw engine really good. And then you don't even need to play him on turn, if you only played Prince John, you can also just play him if you need a character that can trade. So, and then of course we have Fidget, another cool tech option. So really good job, Vince. Really happy for you that you were able to get that mat, and I hope that next weekend goes really well for you. So next up, we've got Nick, and Nick rocking a Blurple list. We've got this list and I believe one more. All right. So Nick here rocking a Blurple list, taking second place, and a member of the Flower Farm, if you can't tell from down here. And a couple of things to note is we see the one Mata Mim up there. We've talked about this earlier, that ability to just kind of discard some cards and gain some lore. Great way to close the game out. But then also in Nick's list, he's opting to run the 4-note Jafar. That Jafar being at 05, questing for 2, but also just pretty good into Amber Steel. He said that Jafar was really good in Amber Steel in testing. It forced your opponent to have a Zeus, and these aggro lists that Blurple can suffer against just a lot of them aren't running Zeus, so that Jafar really able to clean up well, because now you play Jafar, you trade into something, and then you play Bell to move that damage to something else. It's a great move, and it's a great choice, a great tech option. Just unfortunately, no Amber Steel. Don't you hate it when that happens, where you tech for something that you just know is going to be there when it makes up 70% of the meta, and then you dodge them all day. Like that's how it works, right? But when you're looking at it, he beat Chernadog, another heavy hyper aggro matchup. He beat Burn here, and then unfortunately though, just not able to get over there. That 1-2 on the draw. And it's one of those things where you have the stuff that you need, but also by teching for that Amber Steel aggro, one of the things you'll notice that there's not is goats, where you have to, when you tech, you have to figure out what are you going to cut. And in this case, Blurple has a lot of ability to play that long game with red blue burn, right? Or with that red blue burn. But when you're teching really hard for Amber Steel aggro, which you expect to be 70-80% of the meta, those are kind of the cards you cut, the cards that are really good into those slower decks. So we cut the Finders Keepers for the 3 Let It Goes. We cut the Goats for the 4 Jafars. But and that's just kind of unfortunate when that's how you decide to go and you just dodge them all day long. And so you're not wrong to do it, right? That's one of the risks you take. We've seen it work really well. I think back all the time to Vegas where somebody, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but his team all ran that super red purple burn deck, and 3 of them ran it, 2 of them didn't make it, but 1 of them won a golden Mickey. And that's it worked out really well for him. So sometimes just teching the right stuff, you take a chance and it pays off. All right. So really good job though, man. I'm glad that the event went well for you. Second place is still nothing to scuff at. If only we had those second place mats. I know, but really good job, and good job representing the flower farm. And then finally, my favorite list of the video, my favorite list that I've seen this whole weekend is from Gabe. And I didn't ask him, and I'm pretty sure this is not the Gabe that Freddie referenced in his, where he named it Gabe's a butthead. I don't think it's the same Gabe. I just want to get that out of the way right now. But if it is, you'll have to let me know. But I don't think it is. But what I love about this list is I think that this green-purple list, this bounce list with all this draw, and then you have some of this discard package, and then you have the Maleficent Staff, which is one of my favorite cards in the game. I just love it. I love it. I loved it when this kind of thing first came out, and then to see that Gabe and his brother, this is his brother here. I don't know which one is Gabe, to be honest, but to see them running it's just really cool. So they both ran the same list when they went to set champs. The top one here, the one where he got third, is his brother took third at this game, losing in finals to Purple Steel 1-2. He said that his brother forgot to trigger his Chromacon, and because he forgot to trigger the Chromacon, he missed something that was incredibly important that would have won him the game. Unfortunate. It happens, though. It just it happens to the best of us. And then this one right here, they both made finals against each other, so they split. So I think it's just really cool. He said that since they've been playing Lorcana, him and his brother have split in finals 3 times. Like that is awesome. That is really, really cool. So looking at the list, though, if you haven't seen the list, the whole idea is you get down all these 1-drops, right? You empty your hand, you play all these 1-drops, but then you have something like Show Me More, where each player draws 3 cards. You have Chromacon, where you draw a card. Man, meanwhile, you're running this one instead. A lot of them will run 1 Bend to My Will, but this one running Remember Who You Are, which is, I believe, you're discarding until you both have the same amount of cards. I should have read it, but moral of the story, I need to read more, okay? Good thing it's not a requirement to play TCGs. But the list, the Maleficent Staff being really good, because Chromacon, you can bounce your opponent's card, you can bounce your cards if you need to. Meanwhile, so that's a really great option, and then you're just playing, your Chromacons, you're playing Show Me Mores, you're drawing all these cards. That Royal Guard being a really good option against Amber Steel aggro if you come up against it. But I will say that Gabe, they neither one of them played Amber Steel aggro. When you look at their matchups, lots of red purple, lots of again red purple here. So he did say that this list does really, really well against those more tempo lists, those more mid-game lists, and it's going to. I think it would do really good well against red blue. I think it does really good well against red purples because you have a lot of aggro. Maleficents, you have Chris Merfolks, you have the Freds that are difficult to deal with. So the list does really well. It's just against aggro, you're going to kind of, when you're drawing a lot of cards, you're also drawing your opponent cards. So if you don't get the right draw to or the right two lore cards, then unfortunately your opponent, that Amber Steel aggro, which has a lot of lore for 2 cards, and then meanwhile can also blow up your characters, it can be pretty rough. But he did say that he thinks it's very winnable. He really does. So again, if you want to try something that's very different but seeing a lot of success, I think you should check this list out. I really do. So, but yeah, my favorite list of the video. I think this is awesome and really good job. Shout out to the Sunflower Illumineers. All right. But yeah, it's awesome. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, longer video than we've had in a minute, 53 minutes, but a lot of people that I wanted to celebrate. That's pretty much it. We got this awesome playmat here. Gabe and his brother with that awesome list. We've got Sarah and Madison doing well and Gwyn doing really well. And again, just shout out to my friends over at Safari Zone Collectibles. Just an amazing, amazing group of human beings over there. All that being said, ladies and gentlemen, remember, if you want to see your list featured, just hit me up. Join the Discord, shoot me a message, whatever it is, and I'll do my best to get it out. All right. Even though next week's the last week of Set Champs, I'm still going to do a video. All right. I don't care if the only viewers are the people who send me lists. That's all that matters. Okay. But ladies and gentlemen, above all else, remember, stay happy and healthy. I'll see you around.